rehab doesn't need to be overly complicated. Doesn't mean that it's ever going to be easy. It just can be relatively simple. There's 3 big things to take into consideration and then take action on. The goal of this video is to not be super extensive or super nuanced into details of a specific injury and then like the management of that specific injury. There's a ton of protocols, and maybe in the future I will do some form of that video. There is real nuance to this because treating a tendon is different than treating a bone. Treating muscle is different than treating a bone. But systemically, like as an organism, we are still always just seeking to survive and be relatively healthy. So for that reason, if you treat yourself somewhat quote unquote holistically, you can make good progress with self-management. Now, this also doesn't mean I don't think you should seek the help of a professional. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. I love helping people do this stuff, but I think we should put more emphasis on teaching people to self-manage their pain so that they are not reliant on stuff that honestly doesn't serve them, like modalities that, they can't perform on themselves. Surgeries that don't really work that much better than just waiting and taking action in the form of exercise and training and graded exposure, right? So what are the 3 steps? The first is to assess what you have going on as best possible. Now, you're not going to know the diagnosis and the tissue for the most part. Like you're going to know that you have pain. Our pain is a blunt object. And I think that's not a flaw. It is by design, because if it was super specific, it would be problematic. We would not do anything. So when it comes to pain, think of it as just this gross indicator that some form of excessive stress has been put on the system, and we have added psychological components to that, right? There's a reason that pain is wired. It goes through nociceptors, which are basically nervous tissue. And then we also have systemic effects that occur with that. Like you have hormonal changes, endogenous like opioids and that type of stuff occur in both our brain and at the level of the tissue, right? So you're a complete organism. So let's think about ourselves in that way. We want to assess, okay, how bad is it? What can I do? What can I do? Taking into consideration things that are aggravating to it, that seem to make it not feel good or just keep you in pain, versus things that ease it. So aggravating and easing. A lot of times, stopping the activity that is actively causing you pain is a very good acute strategy. Allow things to calm down. For instance, if you're having knee pain with running, especially short bursts, any running at all, but you can walk, we've assessed that, okay, the forces of running on your knee don't help. So let's do what we can. Let's bike and walk and build up, right? So going back to the things that are easy or aggravating, let's just assess those and say, okay, this is my bucket of things that are seemingly actively ticking off the injury, right? The easing factors are okay, what makes it feel good? If that's ice, if that's stim, if that's cupping, that's okay. Just realize some of those things are not super necessary. The benefits of a lot of the things that we do to people are placebo, meaning they are a positively there's a positive connotation to doing something, which isn't bad. That's how a lot of things work with the human mind, right? So after we figure out aggravating and easing factors, then we want to basically assess hey, what can I do generally, right? So if you have a lower body injury, keep training your upper body. Keep doing the things that feel generally good and that you're capable of. Maintaining your overarching health and doing what you can takes a lot of agency, and it promotes self-efficacy, and it promotes confidence that you're going to figure this out. Continuing to do what you can is super powerful medicine. Just training around an injury, even if it doesn't allow you to do what you want, is really good. Yes, it sucks to not be able to train exactly how you want. Right now, I can't run the way I want because I've tweaked my calf, and I can't squat the way I want because I've tweaked my groin. And both of those were me just pushing through injuries. And I'm a physical therapist. I know I should just back off, adjust. And I'm doing that actively because this is what humans do. We kind of make our problems worse. But the big thing is find ways to train. Find ways to feel good about yourself physically and mentally, and lean into those things. Take care of your mental health. When you're injured, it sucks because you start to put forward this cascade of, oh, I can't do this, I'm broken. And we perpetuate those cycles, both in the narratives that we have in healthcare and in like social media and all these things, and in our own brains. Also, other people like to tell how they're broken and how you should be broken too, and we shouldn't necessarily listen to that. So be optimistic. Finally, finding an entry point for beginning to work on those things that aggravate. So give yourself some time, because time is part of the healing process. Like, if you give yourself time and then grade your exposure, meaning you start small, build slowly, like challenge yourself appropriately, you will probably get better. Like, for the most part, you will get better when it comes to musculoskeletal pain and injury, right? The big key is starting light, progressing slow, being patient, and also realizing that you habituate to like pain, right? If you start out and you can't run 2 miles without like knee pain, that's 5 out of 10, but you build up the capacity through strengthening and through slowing down your running, right? Walking more to run 4 miles with, then that's that 4 mile mark is when you start to have pain. We then realize like, okay, I have actually improved, even though my pain is still present, right? But what humans do is like, oh, the pain's still here. But they don't look at the fact that they've made gains and how far they can run before pain occurs. Super simple example. I know it's not perfect, and that's not really the point. It's just to show that our brain habituates to, oh, struggle, and it habituates to, that was good, okay, what's next, right? And we want to just be optimistic and trusting of our body's ability to heal over time. Again, I know this is not exhaustive. It's not meant to be super specific to you and your injury. It's just meant to help you think through this process better, because when you think through the process of getting better, you'll start to take action better. So reach out to a professional you trust, use these principles, and if somebody you're working with is not using these principles, they're just saying like, oh yeah, I'll just fix you, right? Or this treatment will fix you. That's not like a physiological thing. Like, training challenges you physically, which usually makes you better as long as it's dosed appropriately. So if people are not doing this but they're trying to help you, then you can start to say, ooh, like yellow flag. And if they're really not, if they're leaning into things that are not active at all, that's a red flag, and you can start to look for other places. Again, not medical advice, not specifics. That's all I got for today. Appreciate you. Thanks for watching.